What's going on, homies? I just got done with 6 rounds of Wim Hof, and I'm noticing my thoughts at a level that's a little deeper than normal, because I usually only do like 3 rounds, and so I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I figured I'd turn on this thing and just voice some thoughts. Here's what happened. I was feeling this desire to go do a cold plunge, and I started thinking, all right, let's invite some friends to go do a cold plunge, because I don't have a car right now. I sold my car. Love that car, but I always want to, when I start to love something a lot, I want to make sure to remind myself that it's not who I am, and I can be me without it. In fact, going without it can often show me parts of the real me that I wouldn't have ever gotten to see had I held on to that thing, whether it be a really nice car or a super hot girlfriend or honestly, anything. It could be anything from shallow things like material belongings to certain relationships, even intimate relationships, even family. I'm felt so depressed lately because I haven't seen my kids in over 7 months, and I am looking at it through the lens of how can I be grateful for this? How can I use this to go to God? How can I use the life circumstances that I've been blessed with by my amazing and perfect, wonderful, vivacious baby's mama? I'm not giving her the sole credit for blessing me with these circumstances. I get to share some of the credit, and I get to be appreciative to myself too, because I also am. There's certain actions that I take that help create the circumstances as they are. Obviously, I probably deserve 95% of the credit, as I deserve all men ought to own at least 95% of the responsibility for the life situation that we find ourselves in. And then also I want to share probably 4% of the credit to my amazing baby's mama. So she's the other human who shares a significant chunk. And then the rest of that last percent of the credit just belongs to just like, you could say God, or you could say like just the life circumstances as they unfold, that are shared by everybody. Like a dude drives, he runs a yellow light. Some random dude who I don't know, he runs a yellow light, and because he ran that yellow light and didn't stop at the red light, because he decided to gun it and go for it, he ends up on the freeway at the same time that I end up on the freeway, and we're going at we end up crossing paths, otherwise we wouldn't have. And because we crossed paths, and because he was in a white Tesla, it just so happened that he kind of pissed me off a little bit. I kind of pissed him off back a little bit. We played this little game of cat and mouse on the freeway a little bit. He ends up calling the police, saying that I'm following him, which is basically true, because there was a point at which I was following him. There was also a point at which he or she was following me. Long story short, a cop ends up pulling up behind me, and long story short, because he could smell marijuana in my car, because I had smoked marijuana, it was legal in Vegas, like 4 or 5 hours prior. He smells marijuana. And so then he runs me through the field sobriety test, even though I'm totally sober. I failed the test because I was cocky and thought that I understood what the test was, and I threw up like 4 red flags. And if you throw between 3 and 7 red flags, then it's really just kind of a gray area where it's up to the cop's discretion on if he wants to arrest you for DUI or not. So I end up getting arrested for DUI, and then that, so did I play a part? Of course I played a part. I'm the majority stakeholder. I'm the majority responsibility owner, right? But because of that, then, and I don't know how the story was presented to her, but the way that it occurred to her, she got scared, maybe, whatever it might be, and took away, and because she unilaterally controls all of the decisions with the kids right now, again, I am responsible for that because I'm the one who allowed a divorce decree to get finalized that gave me zero power. And I was doing that, admittedly, altruistically, and with the best of intentions, because I believed we would get back together, and I wanted to be I thought that was the best chance I had at getting back together, at being a man who would be super flexible and say, no, it's okay, give her power, I trust her, she's great, I want to see the best in her, she would never hurt me, she never hurt the kids by depriving them time with me, she would never do anything like that. And so I was being you could say overly trusting maybe, but I was being extremely trusting, allowed this divorce decree to go through. Big mistake, ginormous mistake. Guys, any men or women, if you know of anyone going through a separation or hard times in their marriage, send them to me. Let me talk to them, because this is what I would tell them. I would say, if you want to be the best man you can possibly be, the best dad you can possibly be, it is not by being overly nice. Nice is weak. Everybody loses. Everybody loses when we're nice. Now there's kind, that's a totally different thing, but nice, everybody loses. Nice was what I was being. Nice is, hey honey, look, I don't have a lot of money, and rather than going to spend a bunch of money on an attorney, I'd just rather give it to you. I mean, well, so that you can go hire a super aggressive attorney and come back and screw me with it. No, but that's what I did. I decided to, rather than spend the little bit of money I had on an attorney, I gave it to her. And it wasn't much, but it was all that I had. That's what I've honestly always tried to do. I'm not perfect at it, but I've always tried to do that. But that's what I did. And she, I don't know where she got the money, whether she took the money I gave her, combined it with some of her own, and maybe used it from the amazing business that I helped her build. But admittedly, she built most of it. It's her money. She lawyered up. She lawyered up hard, and they came at me hardcore. Now here I am in freeze mode. Literally, it's a survival state, freeze mode, and I don't even have the capacity to handle it. Like, it's just like, and so what I did is I just put it off, and I said, no, I'll take a default judgment. I trust her. I know she's not going to ever hurt me. I took a default judgment. What happens? Finally, a month after the judgment's submitted, I'm actually like reading, the thing, because I go to see my kids, and she says, read the divorce decree. Just follow whatever the divorce decree says. Don't talk to me or anything. Just follow whatever the divorce decree says. And I'm like, honestly, I haven't even read it. She goes, well, read it. So I go read it, and I'm like, I got mad at myself, not only myself, at like what I had done, what I had allowed to be done. But nevertheless, that's what I did. That was 4 years ago. I've been trying to modify this decree for 4 years. And what happened is, oh my goodness, I'm starting to ramble here, but I need to tell this. I was doing it pro se. That means with no attorney. So here the whole time she's got this attorney. I'm doing everything pro se. Finally, a year and a half later, a friend of mine says, dude, all right, you're going to be pro se. I'm an attorney. I'll still help you, but I'll help you silently in the background. So he does. He helps me with all kinds of things. But he still left some responsibility on me, which was to send a binder of the evidence to her attorney within 7 days of the hearing. And that I did not do. I sent it to him, but it was like, I don't know, a few days late. And attorneys know all these things, all these legalities. He brought up that point, got the thing dismissed. And what happens now? I go all the way back to the end of the line, and I got to start the whole process over. Now, obviously, or as you may know, COVID's happening during this whole time. So it totally has got the whole system gummed up. Takes forever to get anything done. And the original divorce decree is still in place until January 6th of next year, 2024. And so basically it's kind of like trying to go fight and kill the buffalo for your family with both arms tied behind your back, one leg in a noose, and you're bleeding out, and then you go try to fight and hunt and kill the buffalo, meanwhile doing a terrible job, which ultimately just stacks up, and in her mind is, well, this is just more evidence that he doesn't care. This is just more evidence that he doesn't want to see his kids. If he did, he would pay me something, some sort of child support and alimony. Meanwhile, then I find out, then I ask her, I say, with respect, you really want this much alimony? This much alimony isn't even warranted back even from when I was making the best year I ever had. That was like 8 years ago when I had that year where I made $250,000. You're basing the alimony off my best income earning year ever? And she goes, I don't want your alimony. I've said, what? I've been stressing this whole time with this weight on me of $4,200 a month total that I owe you every month. Like, this just feels just debilitating. And she's like, I don't want your alimony, and I never did, and I'm not going to play your mind games. I'm like, wait, well, could you please put that in writing somewhere, because or tell your attorney that, because they're coming after me I got big debts that are piled up on me. And it's not even just a number on a piece of paper that's piled up, it's an emotional weight that's debilitating my ability to even feel anything for myself except shame and depression, which is actually the best thing ever. Why? Because I can process through it. It's easy to avoid and distract yourself from our shame and unworthiness when we have a bunch of money flowing and we never, the life situation just keeps putting us in the winning position. But when we're in the losing position and then all the money's gone, then we can't distract away. So what do? We have to look at it. We have to see it. We have to be with it. We have to feel it and heal it, right? And so as we feel it, we can release it. And this is the path I went on for the last now 4 years. Is it true that I'll be a multi-millionaire, super successful business guy, entrepreneur, philanthropist, artist, performing artist? Was it true that all that stuff is in my future? Probably. I mean, we don't know for sure, but probably true. Is it also true that it's way more realistic to think that nobody makes it to that level without going to a depth of darkness and pain and self-loathing, depression, shame? Why? So they can handle that stuff, so they can deal with it, so they can heal it, so they can release it, so they can forgive themselves at the deepest levels. And when they do, they move into an internal alignment with the utmost worthiness, the utmost self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence, all that certainty, all the things that women are ultra attracted to, that even all humans are ultra attracted to, value, abundance, freedom, all the things that we all strive to be the best version of ourselves. So, is all that stuff still in my energetic vortex, still in my karmic future? Yeah, it's all in there, but honestly, it probably won't be realized for a while, because as I've gotten bogged down and in this emotional gunk, emotional turmoil, and I'm not blaming anyone. Everybody has their version of this. Don't blame anyone else. Well, I mean, blame like judgment. Don't ever do that. But like responsibility, my suggestion is take like 95% of it on yourself, maybe like 4% or so of it on your main other, significant other, if you're like your ex-spouse or your spouse or whatever, whoever's your sidekick, the next other human. Go ahead and put a little bit of a chunk on them, and then the other percent is just, you got to let it go to just the randomness of, nothing's totally random, but just the unforeseeable future or unforeseeable present moment reality of all these atoms that are spinning around and obeying the four major forces: the law of gravity, the electromagnetism, the things that are holding my cells in their position right now. That stuff. It would seem random. There's no randomness to it. It's all operating in exact, perfect, divine perfection. If you really got down to a molecular level and even to an atomic level, you'd see that, obviously. So, anyway, I'm laying here and I got my journal and I'm tanning. I'm getting some vitamin D in. And I'm just asking myself the question, all right, God, what do you want me to do now? And before I answer that question in my journal, I figured I'd do like 6 rounds of WIM and just kind of get clear for myself I love God. I love consciousness, whatever God is. And I love just letting go of thoughts, feelings, moods, emotions, and disidentifying from them for long enough to just sit and bask in the pure conscious awareness that we all are. That still small presence that is nothing more than, it's literally nothingness. So it's nothing at all. It's pure consciousness. It's just pure love. And I felt that feeling when I did the Bufo alvarius medicine. I felt that feeling for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then it wore off. I've gotten in touch with that still small presence twice when I did combo. And what it is you've got your physical body going through just shock and sickness and puking and just feel horrible, right? But the reason why that's so valuable is because behind all of that, in the back of all of that, there's this observing presence that's so still and innocent and small, and it's what we all really are. And by doing the combo and subjecting myself to such torment physically, it provides such a clear lens and a contrast to be able to get back in touch with that presence that I am, that we all are. And I love that there's nothing that I love more than that, although there's a few things that get really close. No amount of form, no amount of fulfillment and joy that we could ever derive through some exterior amount of form, exterior level of form, can ever compare or even come close to the joy, happiness, fulfillment, and peace that's available from letting go of all form, emotional form, thought forms, anything that you can see in the 3D, anything that is a thing is not the source of our joy. The source of our joy is the nothingness, the consciousness behind it. We could call it God. I like consciousness. Christ consciousness is a beautiful bridge because it kind of bridges the world of Christianity, which is beautiful, into the world of like the Eastern philosophy, which is also equally beautiful, but from a totally different perspective. So I like the Christ consciousness because that's something that I can go into Vegas at my parents' ward and bear my testimony at the pulpit in an LDS church and say it, and it doesn't really trigger anyone badly. It's just kind of, it fits. And then I can also leave that place and go over and into a bunch of monks and spiritual, you could call them atheists, agnostic, whatever you want to call them, monks, Buddhists, whatever, and use that term, and it still fits there. So I like that term the best. I'm not necessarily a stand for any one true perspective of reality. I'm a stand for all perspectives. So I love, being able to enjoy the contrasting perspectives from viewpoints that are seemingly almost totally diabolically opposed, like the masculine and feminine, right? That exists in all of us. It exists totally in all of us. Just because I'm a man doesn't mean I don't need to integrate into my feminine, just like women need to integrate into their masculine. So I was telling a friend today about Harmonium and giving him the updates on how Harmonium went, and got some real insight onto how the next one's going to be just totally different in certain ways, the same in certain ways that it went awesome, but totally different in other ways that it didn't go according to my vision. And I'm just really looking forward to that. I'm thinking late November, but I don't know for sure. We'll see. I don't know. But anyway, there's a 20-minute update video for you. If anyone wants to go plunge in Utah, hit me up by commenting on this video or just sending me a message. All right, y'all. 20 minutes is probably enough for a video, so I'm going to end it there. Much love. All the bag.